Gautam, as we were expecting that the budget would be on the expected lines, not expecting any much, no major policy changes, and that is what has happened. This is also one of the shortest budget announcement that we've ever seen. To talk more on this, we have Ashish Chauhan with us. Sir, we did see that no major announcements happened over here, also because this is the election year. What do you see the major takeaways and overall reaction on this year's budget?
Overall, I think it's telling you that the government or the Honorable Finance Minister talked about last 10 years accounts and the achievements rather than last 1 year. But if you look at last 1 year itself, there have been tremendous achievements, and in some ways they got lost in the 10 years achievements related activities. But overall, I think the government has found a winning formula of taking welfare with growth, with fiscal restraints. These are the three words that come to my mind, that they want to have growth, for which they are putting a lot of capex, and the capex has gone up from 10 lakh crore to above 11 lakh crore. It's 28-year high as a percentage of expenditure. And that's a welcome move. And I think infrastructure is what India was kind of waiting for, especially the execution part of, not the layout, but the execution part. That is now, I think they have found a winning formula. And at the same time, welfareism is because she said there are four groups of people, or four castes, which need to be taken care. That is farmers, women, poor, and young. And so for me, this is another winning formula, that is welfareism, and of course 80 crore people getting free ration, and Ayushman Bharat being expanded to many other people either. And so for me, in some ways, these are their winning formula that continue the growth momentum, continue the tax buoyancy, and that's where they are trying to bring down the fiscal deficit from 5.8% to now for 24-25 to 5.1%, and then the next year to 4.5%. So overall, I would give 10 out of 10 on just showing what they did over last 10 years, including $600 billion, almost $600 billion of FDI, which was a very, very significant achievement given the COVID times and things like that. But overall, still the focus is on ensuring that India grows, poverty reduction happens, and at the same time, the infrastructure improves.
Sir, you rightly mentioned that, this is a winning formula, where she mentioned about the forecasts, the new 4 pillars, we could say it. Going towards building a new India, this is definitely essential. And when she has spoken about all these factors and the welfare schemes that has been brought, how do you see major changes happening going ahead? Because COVID times, we've already spoken a lot about it. Now, as the time normalizes, how do we see major changes happening here?
For me, I think the biggest change has been in creating a social security framework over the last 10 years in India. I think if we have to be a developed nation, we must learn to provide for poor and needy for at least their basic sustenance. And somewhere on the line, we had not been able to do that. I think over the last 10 years, slowly we have gone towards the pension scheme, the health benefits through Ayushman Bharat, and insurance schemes, not only for humans, but also farmers and things like that. And then, of course, the education. So somewhere along the line, the food part was missing. And 3 years of implementation of the food program, the free ration program, I think tells me that India, with its per capita very low income, is one of the best countries to provide today the social security framework. And if we continue there, then you will see much larger growth going forward, because any country which is not able to feed its people, is not able to take care of their health, cannot grow. And that's where I think, in some ways, as much as infrastructure is important, for me, we have been self-sufficient food production-wise, but we had to still struggle with the hunger. And I think this is, in a way, we have now a framework for literally next 30, 40 years. If we continue to focus on welfare, because many industries, many economists who come from the industry side, we think this is not an important issue for me. For doing business, welfare of every person in this country is absolutely important. That's where I like what is happening, and this is the only way India has to basically get its place in the Committee of Nations.
So you have spoken about 30, 40 years, next 30, 40 years, and India aims to become a developed nation, and we are also moving towards Atmanirbharta. So by the time we become Atmanirbhar completely, my question is a tricky one. What do you expect from the actual budget that will happen now in July?
In 2047, as Honorable Prime Minister has given the vision of becoming a Viksit Bharat, that's what Honorable Finance Minister mentioned many times in her speech. And it is possible to become rich before we become old. See, each society gets old over a period. You have seen Japan getting old probably 20 years back. Europe has become old. China has suddenly become old because of one-child policy, and they have stuck in the middle income zone. Because of the way the technology is progressing, we have a chance over next 23 to 25 years to become rich before we become old. And that's basically the hope of every right-thinking Indian. And it is achievable because we have a young population which is technology savvy. And if we are able to provide the infrastructure, an environment for them to go out and service the entire world, whether by way of production of goods, but also providing services. That's where the PLI and other schemes, although it was not mentioned, we have been pretty much the services capital of the world. And there has been huge buoyancy in the services exports, but also in remittances, where now we have gone from low-end middle list remittances being sort of dominating to now the larger paying jobs actually dominating in the remittances. But overall, for me, the manufacturing is now picking up. It's just building up. And that's where, for me, we are going to pretty much fire on services, which is current mainstay, and then the manufacturing, which is going to pick up now onwards.
So how would you translate this for a layman? How is this for them? Because no changes in the tax regime, overall no major announcements. So how would you translate that?
In a way, it's a relief for most that each budget ends up putting some or other tax burden, but the tax rationalization with GST and also the direct tax framework. In fact, she has also rationalized the direct tax regime by saying that small petty tax disputes with the government are now being taken away up to a particular minimum size and things like that. I think those are the ways to do things rather than trying to keep on tinkering with the taxes on direct or indirect side each year, because that doesn't allow people to plan longer. And so each business would want stability in the tax structure and tax rates. And of course, everyone wants lower taxes, direct or indirect. But overall, if you are able to provide a stable tax concepts and frameworks, that itself is a great relief and to every individual, but also to businesses.
So I'd also ask about stability. You mentioned about stability. Now we expect that there'll be a stability once this election is done, because that is very helpful for other policies that has already been there. Going ahead, what major policy decisions do you see should happen for the, again, Atmanirbharta or for the developed India?
In a way, we are at the right place at the right time. And we have to ensure that we take the maximum advantage of everything that is happening. We have been dependent primarily on import of energy, and our growth will require more energy, but then we are moving towards alternative energy, that is solar, rooftop, and other things. That has been a major focus of this budget speech also. But overall, energy has been our bugbear. Similarly, we have had issues on electronics that we have been able, we have to import a lot of electronics. And that's where, again, the new PLI policies allowing more cheap companies to come in, more downstream units to come in. And so for me, that's where now you can see Apple exporting pretty much almost $8–10 billion a month of iPhones. And so you can see the high-tech manufacturing is coming, the PM Gati Shakti and all the corridors, industrial corridors and logistics corridors have now brought down the cost of logistics from double digits, high double digits to now sort of mid or high single digits, which is a great achievement in the last few years. And probably if we continue to improve our infrastructure, we will certainly become a good manufacturing center also in the world.
So taking your two words, new energy and wherein infrastructure. EV is something, everyone is expecting, even the layman is expecting that there should be some major policy announcements on infrastructure, charging and everything. How do you see we work ahead in that direction?
In a way, solar rooftop, she mentioned about even charging the EVs at home and things like that. And so the detailed strategy probably will come out in the main budget as and when it is presented after the election. But overall, the trend is very clear that we need to defocus or remove our focus from importing fossil fuel and be as much Atmanirbhar as possible. And good thing is we have a lot of sun across the year. We are a very fortunate country, and if we can utilize the sun rays, unlike many other countries in the world who don't have that capability over 12 months in a year, we are pretty much there. And that's where I think if our strategy, which is currently happening on solar, if it is successful, we will see incremental lower dependence on imported fossil fuel. And that's where all of us should plan for.
Okay. So Ashish Chauhan has definitely given a 10 on 10 on this budget. Gautam, do you want me to ask any other questions to sir?
Yes, sure. You could ask Mr. Chauhan about the fact that already we are seeing reactions coming into the market, although they seem to be a little flat if you just look at the benchmark indices. But if you go sectorally, you can make some distinctions. Auto is up, green energy is up, but IT is a little down, pharma is down.
So we'll come to NSE only. We are seeing sectoral, ups and downs. So there's pharma, there's IT. What would you say about how NSE has taken this?
In a way, the expectations of different sectors get built up before the budget. And since no taxes have come in, broadly no new addition other than the capex, which has increased. No other major announcements are there. Broadly, the markets are flat. And some of the expectations which were built probably slowly will be sort of calculated by every participant. And that's where you will see minor movements. But I have not seen during the budget speech or after the budget speech any large movement.
Okay. So we were also hoping that, it will smoothly cross the 22,000 mark. Slowly, but surely we are doing it. Do you have any time frame in mind?
See, for me, my job is of an umpire and not of a person who transacts. But broadly speaking, if you're directionally correct, we should be okay. Because there are international situations. Currently, US interest rates are under discussion, which is a very large proportion of how things move across the world. And so there are many, many factors which are outside the Indian sort of domain. And they affect our markets also. So that's where giving exit targets to anything is not that important vis-a-vis we being directionally correct and comparable to other economies, how we will grow. And today, I think we have a stage set for if the world is cooling down in some ways, we are still looking literally the largest hope the world has today.
So I'll also ask this question where, the contribution of a common man, the youth, the new time investors, the first time investors is also there in giving this major contribution for this number that we are achieving. How would you say that the measures, the government, the policies that has been there for, enhancing, for attracting these new time investors?
In a way, government has given tremendous importance to the markets-based mechanism, from what I call targeted distribution to basically the markets-based mechanism in almost every aspect of life. Stock markets have also benefited out of that. And because of the same, today in last 3.5 years, we have got the number of investors going up from 2 crore to now 8.5, 8.7 crore investors, which is now the largest cohort of any type in the country in terms of the number of people associated with the markets, right? So in a way, we think as and when India grows further, more and more people will come to invest in the markets. Youngsters are more tech savvy. They are able to do things on mobile. That's where they are participating faster. But I'm sure even middle age and older people will also slowly start coming into the markets.